It's that time again. It's the podcast that takes your personal and professional life to a whole new level. Whether you're selling a product, selling a service, or selling yourself, one thing is for sure. You're always selling for life. Welcome to another installment of the Selling for Life podcast, sponsored by Iconic Parts, a world of parts with a personal touch. This podcast is about more than just selling stuff. We think if you stick around, you'll get a lot out of it. I'm Steve, and today I am flying solo. The owners of Conequip, Al, Ryan, and Ben, are all busy doing some hiring today. So on days like this, we turn to a true icon in the world of selling, Zig Ziglar. Mr. Ziglar has helped millions over the years learn how to connect with people in the selling arena, including many of our sales professionals here at Conequip Parts. So, for right now, sit back and relax as Zig Ziglar shares some valuable insight with you when it comes to selling.
I love sales. I love selling. I love salespeople. I love the sales profession. However, selling is a challenge. Selling is hard. Think about this. If selling were easy, sales managers would still be doing it. So selling is a challenge. Look, this is the last thing I ever thought I would want to do. I wanted to be a high school basketball coach in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. That was my goal. You see, I'm an accidental salesperson. My mother raised me the same way your mother raised you. My mother told me, don't talk to strangers, don't ask people for money. So what do? I go into sales. And I am so glad I did because I love selling. However, I had to learn to be a sales professional. I had to learn, study, and practice how to be a sales professional. So this is a little unnatural for me being a salesperson. Maybe it's a little unnatural for you. So let me ask this question. By a show of hands, how many of you had a passion, a burning desire to be a professional salesperson? Sometime in your life, this is your life. That's the answer I normally get. Most people don't raise their hands. When I'm interacting with a live audience, when I'm doing classroom training, I may ask 100 people in the audience, how many of you had a passion to be a professional salesperson? Maybe 8 people raise their hands. 8 people out of 100. Why? Why do people do it? Why did you not raise your hand? So here's the next question. What negative connotations, what negative adjectives did you connect to this thing called selling? At some time in your life, because you didn't want to be a salesperson at some time in your life, what stigma did you attach to this thing called selling? Now here's what I've heard. It's intrusive, it's obnoxious, sellers are manipulators, they're not always factual and truthful. Well, I had a similar experience. You see, I thought selling was hype and deception. When I found out that selling was a helping profession, everything changed. That was my turning point. That was my crossroads. Here's an important lesson. You may want to write this down. This is an important lesson. People make new decisions only when given new information. Once I got the new information that selling wasn't hype and deception, that selling was helping others, was solving problems, selling was putting people in a vehicle to reach their goals, everything changed. I embraced the profession. Well, some of you are still dealing with what I call a sales values conflict. Let me tell you where this sales values conflict comes from. Every day we go into the marketplace. Every day as a sales professional, you and I go into the marketplace, we risk hearing no. More so than any other profession, you and I risk hearing no every day we go out into the marketplace. Let's take a look at an accountant. You'll find out the people at the Zig Ziglar Corporation will tell you that I am not very analytical. I don't have an analytical bone in my body. Do you know what happens to me when my bank book doesn't balance? I change banks. So let's take a look at an accountant. Let's compare accounting to selling. How long is an accountant's reporting period? 30 days, 90 days, 360 days? How quickly does a sales professional get a reporting period? Our reporting period is every handshake, every door knock, and every phone call. You and I are going to hear no more often than other professionals. And that's okay. We need to cope with it. So let me do this. Let's play a little exercise here. I want to ask you what you like about selling. And then I want to ask you what you dislike about selling. So I'm going to show a graphic in a moment, and it's going to have one side will be the likes, the other side will be the dislikes. So let's take a look at this graphic. What you like about selling. On one side, what you like about selling. On the other side, what you dislike. Here's what I normally get. People tell me, well, I like helping people. I like the thrill of the chase. I like to make money. There's nothing wrong with any of those. On the dislike side, here's what they tell me. Well, I don't like the rejection, the pressure, the stigma, the uncertainty. Well, I'm here telling you that that's real. And the reason the likes and the dislikes are so important to us, because if you'll go back and think about the chart that you just saw, guess what? There's not one policy, procedure, or product on either side. Therefore, what you like about selling, what you dislike about selling, has a common denominator. That common denominator is how you and I handle the emotional demands of the sales profession. Let me repeat that. Our success often plays into how often, how well, how good we handle the emotional demands of the sales profession. More so than any other profession, we've got a little bit of a roller coaster on the emotional demands. Let me tell you a story that relates to me, and hopefully you may be able to embrace this. I was having a tough time selling. I went through a period of time where I was trying to get a new product up and going. I was pounding the phones, I was smiling and dialing, and you've been there, you understand. The smiling left and I was just dialing. And I did that for about 6 weeks. I came home every day depressed. At the end of 6 weeks, my wife said, Brian, you actually look like the picture on your driver's license. She said, you need to go see a friend of mine, Mary. Mary is a counselor. So reluctantly, I went to see Mary. Now at the time, Mary is charging $100 an hour. I'm about to save you $100. We sit down, we talk. She said, Brian, admit that you don't like to sell anymore. Mary, I do like to sell. I've worked very hard to be a salesperson. She said, okay. We talked a bit longer. She said, Brian, admit there's a portion, there's an element, there's something about selling you don't like. With great enthusiasm, I said, Mary, I hate prospecting. It's debilitating, it's humbling, it's humiliating. I hate prospecting. Now write this down. Here comes a $100 value right off the bat. That morning, sitting in her office, she said this to me. It was worth more than $100. Here's what she said. That's okay. $50 a word. She said, Brian, you don't have to like everything about selling to be outrageously successful at it. You know how freeing that is? You know how liberating that is? Guys, gals, you don't have to like everything about selling to be outrageously successful at it. Nobody had ever told me that before. And when I gave her my $100, I went down to my car. I sat in my car for a moment before I turned it on, and it dawned on me, sitting in my automobile, having left her second floor office, sitting in my automobile, I was a better prospector. Now here's the question. How much more did I know about prospecting after the session with Mary than I did before the session with Mary? Zip, none, zada. Guys, gals, what I did, I took my foot off my throat and gave myself permission to be successful. You need to take your foot off your brake and give yourself permission to be successful as a sales professional. During this series of videos, the workbook, the coaching, what we want to do is put you in a position to move through your sales, to grow through your career, and be successful as a high-performing, high-achieving sales professional. The key to this, you don't have to like everything about it, but you do have to do it. You have to celebrate what you like and manage what you dislike. As we go through this, we're going to try to give you the will, the skill, and certainly the refill to get you in a position where you can be the salesperson you want to be and you were meant to be. I look forward to that journey with you. I know we'll have some fun. My job is to make you more dangerous right now than you already are, and I look forward to that journey. Now, go sell somebody something.
And that was our 9th Selling for Life podcast. We hope you got something out of that. Thank you, Zig Ziglar. You can definitely get more information by checking out the Zig Ziglar website. Next week, Al and the gang will be back. And until then, we truly thank you for joining the Selling for Life podcast. Our website is sellingforlife.com. You can email us at contact@sellingforlife.com. So until next week, remember, whether you're selling makeup or you're trying to convince your husband that the Fu Manchu has finally got to go, one thing is for sure, you are always selling for life.